Welcome to this session about Snoopy. And as you may notice, there is a slightly discrepancy between what the program states and what this slide says, and that is because it used to be called Snoop, but I ran a Twitter poll, and we came up with that people like Snoopy better than Snoop. And there is actually two reasons for this. One thing is that it's kind of coupled to Java EE. That's why I wanted to have the EE part of it. So, and also I think that Snoopy the dog is a little bit cuter than Snoop the dog. So it kind of adds up to Snoopy as a better name than Snoop. About me, my name is Ivar Grimstad. I'm a consultant at Cybercom in Malmö. I'm also a member of the Java community process, where I'm in a couple of expert groups, and also recently joined the Netflix Stream team. And these are my coordinates on the social media as well. So, this session is about discovering microservices with Snoopy. And it's usually about an hour session, but I've shortened it down to 15 minutes. So let's see if we can make it. I'll keep the slides at a minimum. So when we talk about microservices, this is kind of a situation that you don't want to have, right? In this particular case, you have the application, which is pretty tightly coupled to services A, B, and C. So if one of them goes down or something happens or moves around, you won't notice. And that is why we need something called a discovery service, where the services can register themselves. So the discovery service knows where the services are and if they're up or not. And then the application can do a lookup to the discovery service and get a reference to it and then do the call to the service. In this case, it does a lookup for service A, gets the reference, and then can call A. And in the other way, if you want to do a call to B, it just does a lookup to B and calls B. So this kind of handles the situation if service B goes down for some reason. Then the application will call the discovery service and see that, oh, it's down, so I can't call it, and I'll have to handle it. And this is actually the end of my slides. So let's jump into some code. I may revisit a couple of slides afterwards just to wrap things up. But first of all, let's look at Snoopy. And the main thing of Snoopy is the Snoopy service. And in this case, I'm running it in a Docker container. I'll just start it here. It's running actually Glassfish 4.1 in Docker. It can run in any Java EE container, but I've chosen Glassfish here. And as you see, I have the ASCII art. No, that's important. So that's that picture. And it has a nice UI. And it says, this is a Snoop service, and here's a list of my services. And as you can see, there are no services. So let's register a service. Then I'll just run another service here, and also running in Docker. I really don't care what it's running in, but I think this is Wi-Fi 9. It's Java EE, and this one runs there, and you see it registers with the Snoop service, and every 10 seconds it just gives a health notice. And in my UI, I can now see that, hey, I have a hello service registered. And I can go to it, and the endpoint is actually hello. And it says hello. So it's not a very complicated service. It's pretty easy, but it has registered itself with my Snoop service. But this doesn't give anything. What we want to do is consume the service. Let's look at some code. I'll also go through how the service registration was done also when I register another service later. But let's look at how we look at this service in code. So What I have here is a simple Java EE application. It has one controller, and it's actually built on a new MVC specification. So it runs in a Payara server, which is a Glassfish commercially supported. And it has a controller with a method, and it just answers get and just shows a greeting if it gets something from the services calls. And this is how I do the lookup of the hello service. I have this annotation at Snoop, and I give it the service name, and the service name is the same as the name it has registered itself with. And then I get a client, and I can do a simple get. I'll go through this API later, and just call the hello method on this endpoint, and just add the response to the model and run it. So let's just look at how this UI looks. There. Okay, so it just prints hello. So, and as you see in this code, it says that if I don't get a 200 from a service, I print goodbye. So I can handle that. This is optional I get from this client. So if I now take down the hello service, just kill it, like this. Then you can see in this new service that there are no hello service anymore, and in the hello world service, it prints goodbye. So it handles the situation when the service goes down. So let's start it again. And let's look at how a service registers itself. Then I'll create a world service. Since I have a hello service, I also want a world service. And this is a simple Java EE project. It only has the dependency on Java EE, but it also has a dependency on Snoop, which I need for the registration. And that is about a 10K. So it's not a very big footprint. Also have a plugin for creating a Docker image. You don't need it, but since I'm running a demos in Docker, I have to do it. And it also has some configurations for Snoop. And the Snoop can be configured with this configuration file. This is done at compile time. I set it in the Docker as environment variables. I can also do it in system variables or in a configuration file. Let's look at the world service. As you see here, I also have a configuration file where I can configure it if I want to run it on localhost. So if I run this just in a Java EE container in my IDE, it will use these properties. Or if I run it in a Docker container, it will use the environment properties there. Or it can use the system properties. It's very flexible. And the actual source code is very simple. It just has a world method, which prints world. Obviously, since it's hello world, right? Here comes the magic. In the application config, this is just the usual JAX-RS application. Also have this annotation, enable Snoop client. And this is where the magic happens. If you've used Eureka, you're probably familiar with the enable Eureka client annotation. And this is just the same. I just add enable Snoop client, and I give it a name. And that's all. So I don't need to do anything for this service to actually register itself. So what I do is I've pre-built this. It's a quick presentation. So I'll just start the world Snoop world as well. Run on another port. And you see it registers itself pretty nicely. And if I go in here, now I have two services, the hello and the world. Let's consume this service. I go into the hello controller, and I just inject so in this POM file, I also have just the Java EE dependency. Also have the MVC and the also the ref implementation for MVC, since I'm running that controller. And also have a Snoop client, which is even smaller than the Snoop. It just give me the possibility to do a lookup and call to it. So I just create a role service. So I inject a @Snoop. It's probably going to be renamed to Snoopy, but for now it's Snoop. I see that I want to look up service role. I have a reference to it, which is a Snoop service client. And the Snoop service client is convenience. I can just let me print this fast. If you have never tried to do a 1-hour presentation in 15 minutes, you should try it. It's really world there. And this was called world. And here I'll just write nothing. And if you see in the client here, I have the get service route. I get a web target, so I can use the JXRS client to just do every call exactly as I want it. If it's more complicated or you need to set headers or whatever. But if it's just a simple get, you can use this convenience method and just do a get. And it returns an optional response. That means if the service is not down, it's an option, empty optional. But if the service is answering, you get a optional, and then I can filter the HTTP codes or whatever I want to do from this response. I need to take this one away. So that's all I need to do is to inject the service, and I just had the response here from before. So let's build it. There we go, and run it again. And let's look here. And it says hello world. Now it's called hello and the world service, right? But the magic doesn't stop there. I can do more. If I wanted to point it to another Snoop service, because this is my test environment Snoop service here. Say that I have a production Snoop service running in Amazon with the services. Okay, I don't have internet. Let's quickly turn it on. There you go. So I have some services running on Amazon. So let's see how I can switch and use the system properties, because the system properties will override the environment properties and the local properties. So let's just reload this page. There we go. And I go into the configuration, the properties. I add a property, call it Snoop service, and I point it to this one. I wrote from here. So save it. There, it's saved. And if I now reload this one, it's going to say, uh-oh, I didn't get something there. Sorry?
By default value.
Thank you. There you go. Okay, let's go back to this one. And it said, greetings from the cloud, from the Amazon cloud. So it's very simple. At runtime, I can switch to whatever I want. I can also run this application in any. One minute left, so I can run it in any Java EE container. I just did it in Liberty this morning, and if my slides, it's frozen. There we go. So this is what I've been doing. I'm running it in Payara and lots of Docker containers and everything. I can run it in Liberty. I can do it afterwards here if you want to have a look at it. And it hangs differently. Yeah, my computer extract. When it's alive, I'll post on Twitter. I'll send the URLs for where you can find the information, documentation. It's on GitHub. You can find it. The samples are there. The Hello and World applications are in Docker Hub, so you can just start it, run it, test it. It just requires Docker, and then it can do anything. And if you want to have these cool homemade Snoopy stickers, I have 5 of them. So the 5 first people who come down here can get a sticker. So thank you.
I have a question.
Yes?
Can you register more than one service under the same name?
Yes, you can. And that was what I was trying. If I had time, I would have done it. Then the latest one registered will answer. And that also means that you can actually have a load balancer and have lots of services behind the load balancer and let every service just register with the IP of the load balancer. So you get it for free actually. Because the Snoopy directory service, the discovery service, doesn't care where the service is running, it just needs an IP.
Nej, det är inte